Good morning, everyone. Kristen Matisa, an English and literature student, bed 05/31/2021. I'm going to do the presentation on notes for phonology of English, where I shall start. Introduction to phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the study let me start with the introduction to phonetics and phonology. The definition of phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the study of the physical sounds of human speech, focusing on the articulation and acoustic properties of sounds. Phonology is the study of how these sounds function with a particular language or languages. Importance of studying phonetics and phonology. First, essential for language learners and teachers to improve pronunciation. It aids in understanding the structure and rules governing speech sounds. It provides insights into the variations in pronunciation across languages and dialects. Distinction between phonetics and phonology. Phonetics deals with the physical properties of speech sounds, while phonology examines how these sounds function in a specific language. Overview of the role of speech sounds. Speech sounds are the building blocks of language. Understanding speech sounds is crucial for effective communication. Variations in speech sounds contribute to linguistic diversity. Speech sounds and the International Phonetic Alphabet. Classification of speech sounds. There are two main categories, that is the vowels and consonants. Vowels are produced with an open vocal tract, while consonants involve some constriction of airflow. Introduction to the International Phonetic Alphabet. IPA is a standardized system for representing speech sounds. It provides a set of symbols for each distinct sound in human languages. Uses of International Phonetic Alphabet symbols. IPA symbols help linguists, language learners, and teachers accurately transcribe and understand pronunciation. IPA allows for precise representation of sounds that may not have direct equivalents in a learner's native language. Examples and practice with IPA transcription. Exercises and activities to practice transcribing words and phrases using IPA symbols. Application of IPA in improving pronunciation and communication skills. Articulatory phonetics. How sounds are produced. Overview of the vocal tract and articulators. The vocal tract is the pathway through which speech sounds are produced. Articulators include the tongue, the lips, the teeth, and vocal cords. Description of articulatory features. A place of articulation, where in the vocal tract the airflow restriction occurs. Manner of articulation, how the airflow is restricted. Explanation of how different sounds are produced. Articulation of specific sounds such as plosives, fricatives, and nasals. Understanding the coordination of articulators in producing speech sounds. demonstration and practice of articulatory processes, hands-on activities to feel and observe the articulation processes, practice sessions to produce various sounds and to understand the role of articulation. Vowels in English, classification and characteristics. Classification of vowels based on tongue, 8, tongue advancement and lip rounding. Also, vowel sounds are characterized by the position of the tongue in the oral cavity. Characteristic of English vowels: monophthongs, pure vowel sounds without significant change in quality. Diphthongs are vowel sounds that glide from one position to another within a single syllable. Vowel charts and vowel sounds in English. Visual representation of vowel sounds on charts. Examples and practice to identify and produce English vowel diphthongs and their roles. Understanding the concept of diphthongs in English and recognizing and producing common English diphthongs. Constants in English, place and manner of articulation, classification of consonants. Based on place where the airflow is restricted and manner whereby how the airflow is restricted of articulation. Categories include stops, fricatives, affricates, nasals, liquids, and glides. Characteristic of English consonants. 1. Voicing, which is distinguishing between voiced and voiceless consonants. Examples and practice with common English consonant sounds. Consonant charts and examples in English. We have visual aids to illustrate the classification of consonants and exercises to identify and produce specific consonant sounds. A practice with identifying and producing consonant sounds. Interactive activities to strengthen recognition and production skills. Drills to improve precision in articulating consonant sounds. Phonological processes: assimilation, elision, and epenthesis. Definition and explanation of phonological processes. Phonological processes involve changes in speech sounds due to their interaction with neighboring sounds. Assimilation, progressive and regressive assimilation. We have the progressive assimilation is a sound becomes more like a following sound, where regressive assimilation, a sound becomes more like a preceding sound. Elision, omission of sounds in connected speech. Certain sounds are dropped or omitted in rapid speech. Examples and analysis of elision in English. Epenthesis, addition of sounds in connected speech. Addition of sounds, often vowels in connected speech. Instances of epenthesis in English and their impact of pronunciation. Stress patterns in English words. Definition of stress in phonetics. Stress involves emphasis or prominence placed on a particular syllable within a word. Distinction between stressed and unstressed syllables. Stressed syllables are pronounced with greater force or intensity, while unstressed syllables are pronounced with reduced force. Word stress patterns in English. Rules governing the replacement of stress in words. practice exercises to identify and apply stress patterns. Rules and guidelines for determining stress in words. Common patterns of stress in different types of words. Strategies for determining stress in an intonation and prosody, pitch and rhythm in speech. Definition of intonation and prosody. Intonation refers to the variation of pitch in speech. Prosody encompasses rhythm, pitch, and loudness in connected speech. Importance of pitch and rhythm in spoken language. Conveying meaning through variation in pitch and rhythm. It recognizes the role of prosody in expressing emotions and attitudes. Patterns of intonation in different speech contexts. We have the rising and falling intonation patterns in statements, questions, and exclamations. We have cultural variations in intonation pattern. Analysis of prosodic features in English literature. We have identifying and analyzing pitch and rhythm pattern in spoken English. Then, exercises to improve awareness and control of prosodic features. Dialectal variations in English. Phonology overview of dialects in English. Dialects are regional or social varieties of a language. Dialectal variations can include differences in pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Phonetic and phonological variations among dialects. Examples of how certain sounds may be pronounced differently in various English dialects. Understanding the impact of historical and social factors on dialectal variations. Examples of regional and social variations. We have comparisons of phonetic features in different English dialects. Then we have recognition of variations in accent and pronunciation. Impact of dialectal variations on communication. Consideration of how dialectal differences may affect comprehension. Strategies for effective communication across dialectal variation. And we have practical applications, teaching and transcription in phonology, application of phonetics and phonology in language teaching. You have importance of teaching pronunciation in language education. Techniques for incorporating phonetic awareness in language learning. Techniques for teaching pronunciation. Strategies for helping learners improve their pronunciation, integrating phonetics and phonology into language curricula. Introduction to transcription methods. We have overview of transcription as a tool for representing speech sounds, different transcription methods and their application. We have practice sessions for phonetics transcription in English and on activities for students to practice phonetic transcription. Application of transcription skills in analyzing and representing spoken language. And that marks the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to me.